Alrighty, let's go ahead and take a look at the homework. Lesson 7-1 homework, ratios, proportions, and radicals. Let me go ahead and skim through the homework. So it looks like we got a front and a back. And you can see that number 14 deals with the extended ratio. The ratio of the measures of the three sides of a triangle is 3 to 7 to 5. And its perimeter is 156.8 meters. Find the measure of each side. Okay, so this one is not dealing with angles, right? I know from the notes we were talking about angles and we were setting it equal to 180, but if I were to draw this triangle, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we just need to have an idea. So we have a triangle. We know that the measures of the three sides, in terms of the ratios, 3 to 7 to 5, I'm going to go ahead and put 3, 5, and 7 here. Well, if I were to add the sides of the triangle and set that equal to 156.8, well, 3 plus 5 plus 7, that's 15. That's not going to equal to 156.8. So I actually need to put something here, here, and here, and set that equal to 156.8, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to put those x's like I did on the note. So x here, x here, x here, and I'm going to take these values, right? So I have 3x plus 7x plus 5x equals to the perimeter, right? And remember, the perimeter is essentially the total distance around the triangle. So I'm going to add all the sides here, and that's going to give me my perimeter, 156.8. And what I'm basically going to have to do is I'm going to combine the like terms. That's going to give me 15x, which is equal to 156.8. Solve for x, which is you're going to get 10.45. And then go ahead and start plugging them in. And that's how you find the measure of each side. So don't stop here. Plug them into this, this, and this, and you should get your answer. Let me go ahead and plug in to one of them. Let's plug it into 7x. 7 times... So that's going to be what? 7 times 10.45. That's going to give you 73.15. What is this in terms of meters? Okay, so I'm going to put the units meters. Okay, that's one of my answers. Go ahead and do that for this side and this side. I'm finding the measures. You're not just solving for x. You got to go ahead and find the measures as well. And then here we have number 18. The ratio of the measures of the three angles of a triangle is 7 to 5 to 8. Find the measures of the angles. This is basically the same. Sorry, not the same. It's more like a similar problem to the notes. So go ahead and look at that one and then replicate those ideas we talked about in the notes and do that on the homework. And then here we got the perimeter of a rectangle is 98 feet. The ratio of its length to its width is 5 to 2. Find the area of the rectangle. So it's so important that you are reading these problems and not jumping ahead and making conclusions. You have to read these word problems very, very carefully. So we don't have a rectangle drawn out for us, but we're going to do that anyways. We know that the perimeter of a rectangle is 98 feet. All right, so the perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. We know that the perimeter is 98 feet. So I got to figure out what L and W are. Know that the ratio of the rectangle's length to its width is 5 to 2. So let this be L. That's my length, and this is my width. Okay, that's W. The length is going to be 5x, and the width is going to be 2x. So we already know what L is, and we already know what W is. So then I'm just going to replace this L with this L, which is 5x, and then this W with that W, which is 2x. So it's 2 times 5x plus 2 times 2x. Don't forget that equal sign. And then multiply, and then combine the like terms. Got 14x there equals 98. So what is 98 divided by 14? I'm gonna go ahead and look that up right now. 98 divided by 14 is 7. So x is 7. So the length is 5 times 7, that's 35. And then the width, 2 times 7, that's 14. Okay, so I have the length, which is 35, and then I have the width, which is 14. Please, please, please make sure that you are reading what it's asking. It's saying find the area of the rectangle, not necessarily find the length and the width, or the measures of the length and the width. You are actually finding the area. And if you don't know what the area of the rectangle is, you have to look it up on the internet. Or I can just tell you right now, that's the length of the rectangle, or sorry, the area of a rectangle. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is area of the rectangle, a subrectangle, is equal to length times width, which we already established that the length is 35 and the width is 14. So then 35 times 14 is 490 feet squared. Okay, and know that the units, or the unit in this case, is feet, and since I am in area land, I will do feet squared, right? Feet squared, because you're saying 35 feet times 14 feet. I have 2 feet, right? I'm multiplying those feet. Feet times feet is feet squared. If that makes sense. If that makes sense. Like in algebra, in Algebra 1, you learned that x times x, right, is the same thing as saying x to the first power times x to the first power. And when you're multiplying the same bases and there are, exponents involved, you basically keep the base, and then you're going to add these exponents together, which is x squared. That's the same idea with feet. Sorry, not plus, it's multiplying. Feet times feet is the same thing as feet to the first power times feet to the first power. So that's feet squared, okay? So you got 490 feet squared. That's your answer. Okay? And then the ratio of the measures of the side lengths of a quadrilateral is 2 to 3 to 5 to 4. Its perimeter is 154 feet. Find the length of the shortest side. Okay, so I think you're able to do this on your own. Here's a quadrilateral. It's just a 4-sided figure, and you can call this 2x, 3x, 5x, and 4x. Know that with the quadrilateral, it doesn't have to be the same size as shown here. It's just a 4-sided figure. It's very, very generic. You don't know which ones are congruent. It's just a 4-sided figure. Do that. 2x, 3x, 5x, 4x. What am I going to do with those expressions, and what does it mean perimeter is 154 feet, right? What are you going to do with these and also this, and then how are you going to find the length of the shortest side, okay? I'm going to let you figure that out on your own. Now, this homework assignment here has plenty of proportions. Good practice for you all. Let me go ahead and do like a few problems here. I think 21 is very, very basic. I think you can do that on your own. And let's do this one right here. This one's this is like a level 2, but very, very basic. No with multiplication. So if you have a ratio equals a ratio, this is a proportion. You're going to solve for x. You're going to use the butterfly method. So I'm going to multiply 11 and 20x, and I set that equal to 55 times 20. Okay, and then 11 times 20x, what is 11 times 20x? 11 times 20x is 220. Well, obviously, 11 times 20 is 220. I'm sorry. I'm not really good with arithmetic, but 220x, that's the left-hand side. And then 55 times 20 is 1,100. Now, I'm going to divide both sides by 220, so x is equal to 5. Okay, that's the answer. This is kind of a level 2 problem. Number 24 is a level 2 problem. So x is equal to 5, okay? Now, let's go ahead and get into, I don't know, this territory right here. This is, I'll say a level 3 problem. So 4 times the quantity 2x plus 4. So I do 4 times 2x plus 4. And I set that equal to 5 times 3x minus 1. Do the distributive property. You get 8x plus 4, and then you get 15x minus 5, and I'll let you go ahead and solve for x on your own, okay? Make sure that you are showing all of your work so that you get credit for the homework assignment, okay? Don't just give me the answer. I want you to show me your steps from the first step to the end, okay? So that's 24 and that's 27, and number 28 is essentially the same idea. It's very, very similar to number 27. So that I would consider that as a level 3 problem. So go ahead and do that on your own as well. Okay, I have these radicals. Please make sure that you are looking at your notes to understand how these are being worked. Number 29, that's exactly one problem that we did on the notes. I'm going to show you that method number 1, where I'm just going to, break this square root into parts. So the square root of 25 times 2, right? 25 times 2 is 50. That can be rewritten as the square root of 25 times the square root of 2. Y'all, the square root of 25 is 5, and you multiply that by root 2. So 5 root 2, that's your answer. 5 root 2 is your answer for that one. And then I got, let's see, number 36. You can use the method 2. Let's go ahead and use method 2, where we're going to use the factor tree method, where I draw a little caret sign below the number. I know 75 can be broken down into 25 and 3. And then 25 is simply 5 and 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. And then I'm going to circle that pair of that same number, and I'm going to eliminate one of the 5s and bring the other one outside of the square root, okay? So the only number that should remain in the square root is 3. So I have that square root, right? So this 5 is going to stay there, and then this 5 here is actually going to go outside with that 5. Okay, so then this 3, since it's alone, it doesn't have a pair, it's going to remain inside of the square root. So 25 root 3. 5 times 5 is 25, so 25 root 3 is my answer. 25 root 3 is my answer. Okay? Let me see. Is there something that I can do? Alright, we got 147. This one's a little difficult. You're probably going to have to use your calculator a lot. Well, I'm going to do that too. So let's see, 147. Well, let's see. I know that 7 times 20 is 140, right? So if I said 7 times 21, that is going to give me 147. So 7 times 21, and break down that 21, that's going to give me 7 and 3. Notice I have a pair of 7s there, and this lonely 3 is going to remain inside of the square root. So, drawing my square root sign, I have that 5. So 5 times, okay, so I'm going to eliminate one of the 7s and bring the 7 outside of the square root. So 5 times 7, okay, 5 times 7, root 3, 7 times 5, or 5 times 7 is 35. Root 3, that is your answer. 35 root 3 is your answer. Okay, this one was a little tricky. Alright, let me go ahead and do 43. Because why not? Let's do 43. Alright. Let's see, I have 8x squared times the square root of 275b squared. And y'all, this, we have a number multiplied by a variable, which is squared. So I'm going to use that factor tree method. I'm going to actually break that, I'm going to break the radicand apart. So I have 275 times b squared, okay? And know that b squared is the same thing as saying b times b. So I'm going to circle that, and I'm going to leave that alone for now. And then this 275, essentially, that looks like I can break that up, because I know that 25 goes into 275. Do I know, how many times? Well, I have no idea. So put in the calculator, 275 divided by 25. So I got 25 times 11, okay? 11 is a prime number because the two numbers that multiply together that'll give me 11 is just 1 and 11 itself, nothing else. 11 is a prime number. There's nothing you can do with that. You cannot break that apart. But for the 25, however, you can break that up with 5 and 5, and since that's a pair, I can move on from here. So let me go ahead and draw that square root sign, and I know that 11, I'm going to underline 11, that is my prime number. It's going to go inside of the square root. So I have 8x squared, which came from the original problem, okay? And so with this, I have a pair of 5s. One of them is going to come out, and the other one's going to get eliminated. So then I'm going to multiply that by 5 here, okay? And then here I have this, I have a pair of b's. So again, since I have a pair of b's, one of them is going to get eliminated, and the other is going to come outside of the square root. So I have b there. And then this 11, our prime number, is going to remain inside. Okay, so I have 8x squared times 5 times b. I'm going to make that look nicer. Everything is being multiplied in this case, so it doesn't, so order really doesn't matter. But I want to make it look nicer. I'm going to multiply the coefficients, and then I'm going to multiply the variables, or just, leave the variables alone or something like that. I don't know. But I know that I can rewrite this as 8 times 5 times x squared times b, okay? Root 11. So I have my coefficients. 8 times 5, that is not 35, that's 40. And then I have x squared times b. X squared times b, if you multiply them, it's going to remain the same. Okay, x squared times b root 11, and this is my answer. And then you can do number 42 on your own. So I did the hard part. You're going to go ahead and do the easy part. Okay? Alright, toodaloo. Oh, and one more problem. Y'all, the square root of 169. Well, let me think of two numbers that multiply together to give me 169. That's going to give you 13 and 13. So I have a pair of 13s and there are no other numbers or no prime numbers. What happens here? Well, I have 13 as my answer because 169 is a perfect square. Okay, and this is on the notes if you want to look.